Hi everyone, welcome back to Dobby Books, and today I'm going to respond to a question that Steve Donahue was talking about today in one of his BookTube posts about how we decide what we're going to read next. And I had to think about that. I don't think I'm a mood reader. That to me would seem too wishy-washy, too... what would the word be? I think it would be, for someone like me, perhaps too unstable. I think what I require is some sort of framework to base what my next read is going to be on. And that never excludes a recent book that's been released that everybody's talking about. Of course, I'm going to explore that, and if I find it interesting, I'll read it. Or a recommendation by another booktuber. I'll investigate it, and if I like it, I'll read it. An example of that was when Jennifer was talking about The Cloisters, a book called The Cloisters, and it really intrigued me. I checked it out, and I read it, and I loved it. I wouldn't have known about the book otherwise. But I don't think I could categorize myself as a mood reader, because if I look at all the books I have over 1,000 books in my library. For someone like me to just stand there and go, what do I want to read? Yeah, but there's always this. Well, I could read this. No, but there's also this other one. It would just take me too long, I think. Maybe I'm more of a mood buyer, let's say, because, I buy books because I love to buy books, and I pick a book based on my interests, so perhaps that's more along the lines of a mood reader. But for me, I'm going to explain to you what I do. I have a framework that I go by because reading the classics became something that I really wanted to do in my life. I think all my book choices have been based upon that framework. So as I covered in my last video, right now I'm reading David Copperfield. That's one of the classics, but also what inspired me to read David Copperfield, even though I'm not in that part of my classical reading schedule, is because there was a modern day reinterpretation, if you will, of David Copperfield called Demon Copperhead. And I'm curious enough, based on what everyone was saying, to read Demon Copperhead, but because I'd never read David Copperfield, I went ahead and did it. That to me made it worthwhile. The book Pride and Prejudice, I've read that, but there was a modern day reinterpretation of that entitled Pride. I think it's more of a YA book. So I read that. I think those books were based upon the framework, the classic books or the great books framework. Gee, I wonder what this modern reinterpretation is going to do with Pride and Prejudice, with David Copperfield, and there was one that was a reinterpretation of Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen as well, called, Ghosted, which was, I thought it was just a very cute and adorable reinterpretation. It was really nice. Okay, so that's what I think my chosen books are based on, that classic framework. And what I've done over time is whenever I have found a book list based on the classics, I print it out. So, for example, my most recent one is a printout I made of St. John's College and their graduate studies program, and they have a book list. And there's their seminar book list, the tutorial book lists, all based on the classics because it's their liberal arts graduate major. And I print that out. I check off the books I've already read, and I keep an eye out for the ones that I haven't. What I had originally started with was a book list by Thomas Aquinas College, which is a Catholic liberal arts college. They have two campuses now, one on the East Coast and the original one in California. And they had a book list for each year, so they have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And that's where I started, because it's the only one I knew at the time. And their lists are chronological. They start with ancient history and work their way forward. That is what I've been doing. That's how I've grown my bookshelves. All this here and what you see behind me, some of what you see behind me, is all the classics in chronological order. So we have working ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and then, medieval, early Renaissance, etc., as well as the book lists that you would find in the book The Well-Trained Mind by Dr. Susan Wise Bauer. That had a great book list, and what helped me in that is it helped me to find editions of books that were geared towards a younger reading audience. And then I began to collect those versions of the classics, and my children's bookshelf contains classics, but for young readers. So right now, I'm finishing up my study of ancient Rome. I've read some Greek philosophy, Greek plays, Greek histories like Herodotus and Thucydides. And with Rome, I've read the Aeneid, I've read Suetonius, Plutarch's Lives. And then heading into early Christianity, I've read some of Josephus's writings, all based on that reading schedule of the classics in chronological order. That has always motivated my reading. I don't think I'm a mood reader. I think I have a plan. And for the most part, I follow it with the occasional deviations because something interests me, like a Stephen King novel I want to listen to. I prefer to listen to an audiobook of King novels or short stories. Those are just my little occasional diversions. Oh, let me read that. But like any Stephen King novel or short story series, I got to take a break. My brain has to step into some more light reading. And that'll either be back to my classics reading list, or I'll just read something light from some YA or your children's book. I have, oh gosh, I'm not even going to go into that. But yeah, sometimes when I'm tired and I don't want to think, and that's a given that at the end of the semester or during a winter or spring break, I've done a lot of serious reading for my classes, so I don't necessarily go to my classics book list. I'll go to my children's reading list, middle grade books reading list. I'll look at what's on my shelf and say, let me read that, because I just want something that I can just coast through while still being able to just enjoy reading, because I can't imagine not reading. When I go someplace, I have something to read with me, whether it's on my Kindle, whether it's some little book or something that's in my purse. I cannot be without reading. So that's it. That's everything. That's the excitement for the day. I don't think I'm a mood reader. I think I'm more of a structured reader. And I'm very curious to see what the rest of you, if you think about this, what kind of reader do you think you are as well? All right, everybody, be happy. Enjoy the summer, the first day of summer. Bye-bye.